Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Prime Minister and a former BEC board member weigh in on that secret energy deal. That story straight ahead.
A mix of emotions for Centreville residents and Christie losing his seat. That story straight ahead.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Police confirming tonight that former Nassau Village MP and BAIC Chairman Dion Smith has been taken in for questioning in relation to that alleged theft at the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation. Those 7 employees who were recently taken in for questioning have been released and are back on the job today. Though the investigation is still underway, former Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis is expressing concern, comparing police action to the Nazi regime, suggesting the investigation may be politically influenced. In a statement, Davis said descending on a corporation during work hours, Gestapo style, with guns drawn in the circumstances of the allegations made against the employees seems like overkill. None of these people would have been armed and no arms were involved in any of the allegations. The 4 men and 3 women were arrested on the job Tuesday evening. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando, confirmed to our news team that an additional employee was taken in for questioning yesterday. He said the employees were released pending further investigation, but would not say whether any charges are expected. Today, as our news team waited outside the corporation, Fernando and other plainclothes officers left the BAIC main office with what appeared to be computers. Computers and a television are among the items believed to have been taken from the building on the night of the general election. But the interim PLP leader in a statement has expressed disappointment with the investigation, questioning if there is any political motive behind it. He said, "The new government has to be careful that it does not live up to the widespread expectation of witch hunts by them following a campaign. That is the way the recent action comes off. If that is not the intention, then both the police and the government owe the country a full and frank explanation." President of the Bahamas Public Service Union, John Pinder, has been meeting with BAIC employees since the arrests on Tuesday. He said as long as no charges have been filed, the employees are free to return to work, and that he hopes this is not a case of victimization.
It appears, though, the environment has become very politicized, in that the persons who were involved feel as though other staff members, their other colleagues who, I guess, were not on the same political side as they were on, isn't showing the kind of sympathy towards them as they were looking for or expected to receive.
But the union president says he has a few concerns, particularly concerning those employees hired around the time of last week's election. According to Pinder, several people started work at the corporation on May 10th and the day after.
On the day of elections, it started, and then some came the day after the elections.
Can you say how much?
My information, 10 came on the day of the elections. And the day after the election, 5 more came, and they all had letters indicating employment to start on the 10th of May.
As for reports of a walkout at the corporation today, Pinder explains what happened.
There was some challenge with a manager that was actually seconded to another department as a result of some allegations levied against him. And apparently 2 days or so before the elections, he was brought back here. Some of the persons that levied those charges against him are of the view that if he comes back with the same level of responsibility and being their supervisor, they just fear there may be some form of victimization.
Well, former Prime Minister Perry Christie's revelation that his government had secured a secret energy deal in the days ahead of the 2017 general election will be reviewed by the Minnis administration. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis addressed the issue today. This as an outspoken former BEC executive chairman says he too was shocked by the former PM's announcement. Jasmine Brown reports.
Prime Minister addressed the issue of that secret energy deal shortly after he wrapped up a tour here at the Ministry of Works this morning, as he says his administration is looking into that matter.
We would have to look at what has been done.
Dr. Minnis was responding to former Prime Minister Perry Christie's announcement on Monday night that among its final acts as the government of the Bahamas, Cabinet approved a natural gas energy deal with the company days before the general election. Christie said if followed through, the agreement would bring about more affordable and reliable power in the Bahamas. Minnis, who took office 8 days ago, says he has yet to see any documentation to support Christie's claim.
I don't know if they signed it, man. Don't listen to what they say. I don't know if it's signed.
Prior to last week's election, sources close to the matter told our news team the former government was in negotiations with U.S. firm New Fortress Energy to build a liquefied natural gas power facility near the existing Clifton Pear Power Station. Christie's announcement came as a shock to many, including former BEC chairman Leslie Miller. Were you aware of that?
I heard rumors of it, but I wasn't privy to anything that took place.
It's strange that it was made so soon before the election.
A lot of things was made soon before the election. I guess you try to do what you figure you need to do before that day comes, and hope that the day would have found out better for you, but it didn't. That's the luck of the draw.
Miller, who was a proponent of LNG under the first Christie administration, says he finds it interesting that it was apparently on the former administration's agenda.
That's a strange one. I don't know how you're going to put a regasification terminal at Araba Key when you didn't want to put it on Ocean Key, which is 9 miles from Bimini. That's a strange one, but you know.
Meantime, Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Paul Maynard said earlier this week that the union will block any agreement with a foreign entity that potentially jeopardizes Bahamian jobs at Bahamas Power and Light. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, after voting overwhelmingly in favor of Free National Movement candidate Adrian Gibson on Election Day, some residents of Long Island are livid that their new representative will not have a seat at the cabinet table. Angry residents took to social media to vent their frustrations and questioned whether the new government is serious about change and youth empowerment. Vonnie 2 reports.
Immediately after the list of cabinet ministers was released, angry Long Island residents took to social media to rip the Minnis administration over its decision to resurrect former cabinet ministers like Carl Bethel and Dion Folks and stick their new representative Adrian Gibson on the back bench. One Long Island constituent wrote, "Adrian destroyed Doc's biggest enemy, namely Loretta. That should count for something." Another vented, "It is the disrespect they showed us after assuring us that if we elected Adrian, he would be around the decision-making table. So, did they lie to us?" This Long Islander pleaded with her party, "Please do not follow in the PLP's footsteps. Do not just use our young candidates to gain seats, but utilize them otherwise. They can make a difference in our country." Another warned, "Fix this or we will fight y'all for what we deserve." Constituents also questioned why 3 Grand Bahama MPs made it to the cabinet table, while Long Island, in their opinion, remains voiceless. Gibson would not address the decision to overlook him for a cabinet post, but admits his constituents feel duped.
I certainly know the people of Long Island believe that it does. And, you know,
that you're not in cabinet?
Yes, that has been communicated to me. There's been some level of disappointment communicated to me. But, you know, I am going to work from where I am hard on behalf of the people of Long Island, and I am going to adamantly pursue the concerns and the issues and try to address as much as I can from the position where I am until things change. We are Long Islanders, and we are a set of determined people.
Gibson, who was an attorney, former educator, and columnist, went up against PLP candidate Glendon Roll and incumbent Loretta Butler Turner, who lost the F&M's Long Island nomination after she and 6 other F&M MPs had Dr. Hubert Minnis ousted as opposition leader. Gibson secured 883 votes. Roll received 526 votes, while Butler Turner, who ran as an independent, received 252 votes. Gibson says taking down the former F&M deputy leader and the country's first female official opposition leader was no easy feat.
I respect her accomplishments as a woman in politics, you know, but I had a task, and my task was to win that seat. For me, it is going home. And so I'm happy that the people of Long Island decided to stick with their homeboy and give me an opportunity to represent them.
19 people make up the Minnis cabinet, including 1 woman, a handful of F&Ms who served under their last Ingram administration, and several F&M candidates who were embroiled in controversy before the May 10th general election. We asked Gibson if he was shocked by Minnis's cabinet picks.
I don't know if I was shocked. You know, you're always hopeful, but like I said, the cabinet selections are within the purview of the Prime Minister, and you know, I'll let the people, you know, deal with that end of it. But I'm going to serve from where I am.
Gibson, who pledged to push for better roads, health care, increased airlift, and access to basic necessities like potable water throughout Long Island, expressed hope that he would one day be selected to serve in the current Minnis cabinet.
I hope to. I hope that it happens one day. Many of us, when we run this race, you have areas that you have interest in going in, and you believe you could greatly contribute to. And I think, in my case, I feel the same.
Reporting for our News, I'm Vonique Tude.
Prime Minister Hubert Minnis confirming today that he has had discussions with Minister of Works designate Desmond Bannister about personal issues that could have conflicted with his cabinet post.
Bannister, I had spoken to him. He came in and had agreed that he would accept Ministry of Works. However, he had some pressing issues that personal matters that he needed to deal with. And I told him by all means he can deal with those matters, and when he returned, then we would regularize him. He would be sworn in. So he, along with all the senators and the parliamentary secretaries, would be sworn in on Monday.
The Cabinet Office released a statement early this week after questions arose when Bannister was not sworn in with other cabinet ministers on Monday. The statement acknowledged that Bannister had an audience with the Prime Minister on Sunday, at which time he accepted the appointment of Minister of Works. Bannister reportedly indicated at that time that he had some pre-arranged commitments outside the Bahamas and requested to be sworn in at a later date. Meantime, the Prime Minister, who met with the Ministry of Works department heads today, says based on today's discussion, Bannister has a lot of work ahead of him.
I can say that when the minister arrives on Monday, he has quite a bit of work, as the department has quite a bit of problems and issues and legitimate concerns.
Well, Centreville residents are speaking out on former Prime Minister Perry Christie's shocking defeat in the Centreville race. April Sands has that story.
Well, since Perry Christie's defeat at the polls, residents of the constituency of Centreville are calling it a new day. It's been a week since Christie lost his seat in the Centreville constituency by just 4 votes to the Free National Movement's Reese Chipman. The former Prime Minister was among 25 incumbent Progressive Liberal Party MPs to lose their seats in Parliament on Election Day. Many of the Centreville constituents we spoke to today said it's about time the area had a change in representation.
This is the worst ever I have seen, and I even from here. I am from the island of Eleuthera, and I have been living here with my mom for a couple years now, and I see the sufferings, and I see for Prime Minister, this shouldn't look like this. We should look out like out west or out like east. Come on. We deserve the best. Centreville deserve the best for a Prime Minister who represented us for 40 years. Come on, look at this, look.
I think he did good. In some ways he did good, in some ways he failed. And everyone cannot get it. I want something, you want something, he wants something. Everyone cannot get it. You understand? Someone can be left behind, and the ones who are left behind, they disgruntled. You understand? Because being a Prime Minister, you have a whole area to deal with, all the outer islands, the city and everything. So he's only one person.
Residents tell us they've had to come together as a community to take care of themselves as they've set up food stalls and community gatherings. One woman even claimed they've had to deal with abandoned buildings like this one. At the end of the day, they say Christie could have done a lot more for the area during the 40 years he represented this inner city community in Parliament.
We have been taking care of the neighborhood ourselves. Especially when the single parents like me, I could go to the neighbor house, or I could go somewhere and get a cream to eat. I can't go to my representative. I can't even see him. Right now, Mr. Chipman don't even know, Mr. Christie doesn't even know what I name. But he needs my vote every 5 years.
He has taken the people in Centreville for granted, and this is what he gets.
Some is good and some is bad, you know. And I said, with me, the way I look at it, he should be coming around more often and check his people out and find out what is what, you know. I believe that play a major role inside this camp. It's lost now.
Moving forward, residents say they have high expectations for Chipman. Reporting for our news, I'm April Sands.
Thanks, April. Still to come on our news, Leslie Miller says his scathing comments about Perry Christie were taken out of context. Stay tuned.